start life over in a quaint village, but the first thing you see when you get off the train is a body in the snow. It's one of only many twists and turns in Salman Shaheen's Freeborn. Welcome to Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews. I'm Sharon Lynn, and welcome to you.
Hi, thank you, Sharon. Thank you for having me on your show.
So glad you could make it, and we could make the times work across the globe. Um, so one of the things about the main character is that first of all, he discovers dead body in the snow. So there's a lot of mistrust going on there, but there's also a lot of mistrust based on the fact that he is a tech person and he's working with AI and these new, technologies. So this is just a massive question that everybody is going on about right now. But what's your take on AI?
It's really interesting. I think that's the question because when I started writing Freeborn, ChatGPT hadn't been invented, and now obviously we could see the direction of technology. We knew where it was going. We knew the pace of innovation, but suddenly it's just exponentially increased in a way that I don't think anyone could have expected, and it's already transforming the world in a way I don't think anyone was prepared for, and that brings tremendous, wonderful opportunities and also very, very stark challenges. And I don't think we've yet got it right. I don't think we've yet got to a point where governments around the world really know what they're dealing with, and how to correctly regulate it or account for it in their economies or societies in a way that the AI can do good without doing harm. So, I mean, you could just take a few examples. So, let's say, AI is revolutionizing the workplace already. It's making us more productive than we've ever been at any time. People can do in an hour what they used to be able to do in a day. And isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing for our economies until we realize half of these people don't have jobs anymore? And our education systems are not geared towards training people up for the jobs of the future. They're geared towards, producing people over the course of, 10, 15 years, for the jobs they thought they were going to graduate into, which no longer exist. And we now have this huge bottleneck, I think, this huge crunch point in society. We are at this cusp moment where all the jobs that kids, students are graduating into now, they thought they were going to have, they don't exist anymore. I'm sure, give it 10 years, there'll be whole new industries will have opened up and there'll be wonderful new opportunities. But it sucks to be a kid right now graduating, from university. You've just been through the pandemic. You're coming into the worst job market we've ever seen. Youth unemployment is going through the roof. And that's a danger of AI. And I think we have to accept the dangers alongside the opportunities. And the only bodies that can really deal with that are governments. And governments need to write laws faster than AI can overtake them, which isn't happening at the moment. And Freeborn isn't about the job market. It's about murder and mayhem and mystery. But it is also a cautionary tale about AI, when it's taken to the extreme, when it gets into the wrong hands, when the safeguards that we would hope to see aren't there. And if we don't get this right now, Freeborn set in the near future, if we don't get it right now, this sort of nightmare scenario that I've envisaged might just come true.
Well, actually, it's one of the things that society has always dealt with technology through art first, because technology moves faster than science. And so yeah, we're seeing these AI kind of caution. Just have a little caution. Just think a minute before you start plowing right ahead into everything. So yeah, it's a fun little uh, as you're reading, going, oh no, oh no. Just really very much and enjoyed that aspect of it. So when you, as you said, set in the near future, when you were creating Freeborn, what kind of research did you do into AI?
So I do a lot of work in AI adjacent fields already. I was a journalist for a decade. Then I went into communications. I run my own PR firm, and I do a lot of work with tech companies, ed tech companies, educational organizations that are grappling with AI and what it means for the future of society. How do we skill people
Mhm.
for the future of society, and fully prepare them for what's to come. So I have tons and tons of these sorts of conversations with people all the time. Read tons and tons of papers and reports about just how scary and how amazing. Let's not be alarmist. How potentially amazing, also how scary AI can be for our societies, and all of them point in the same direction. We are not ready. Our laws, our societies are not ready for the revolution we currently find ourselves in. And that's in some ways that's only going to get worse because tech companies are not interested in societal evolution at a sustainable pace. They are interested in making a profit as fast as they can. And OpenAI is not going to want to be outcompeted by Google. It's not going to want China to get there first. It's going to want to be there first, fastest. That means it's producing technology with the safeguards turned off because it wants to be fastest and it wants to be best, fastest. And that may mean some great things for technology, but it means it's not going at a sustainable pace, and governments aren't regulating these tech companies at a sustainable pace either. That a lot of the research that I read is pointing in that direction. And again, so much of this came out after I wrote Freeborn, but I'm just kind of glad I called it right. I'd like to think I called it right before it happened.
Yeah. No, it's not like way out in the future science fiction. It's like, oh yeah, that could totally be happening right now. And as part of that, you have a term in your book called anthropo. Am I saying
Anthropose, yes.
anthropos? Okay, and you had said this is kind of a made up term, a sort of militant Luddites, essentially. But when I Googled it, it told me what it was. So kind of a made up term, but it's out there. Tell us about this particular group that you added into your story.
Well, it's sort of thematically, I suppose the word anthropo kind of sort of means pro-human. Pro-human and pro-humanity, not coming at the cost of technology. So this group called the Anthropos are, they are dead set on preventing any kind of technology that interferes with what it means to be human, that changes the nature of what it means to be human. And one of the key conflicts at the heart of Freeborn, and the name of the town and the setting is intentional, of course, is what is free will, what is human nature, what are we in our state of nature, and how is technology changing what it means to be human. And obviously Harry, our protagonist, who's come to Freeborn. Unfortunately, as we say, he steps off the train and finds the body of a young woman and gets plunged into this huge conspiracy and mystery. But even before that, he's come there to start a new life. He's come there to find the peace and quiet to work on this major new revolutionary tech device, and it makes him a target for this group of anthropos. And when sort of characterizing them and building this group, I didn't want. They're very. I mean, I'm hopefully not giving too many spoilers, but they do some nasty stuff in the book. They're not exactly peaceful, but I didn't want to paint them as cartoon 2D villains either. They've kind of got a point. You can kind of see where they're coming from. You don't agree with what they're doing, but you kind of see where they're coming from. Especially when it comes to their juxtaposition against state interference in people's lives and how the state uses technology to control people. And I think that's the key. I think we've got to see this through the lens of one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter, and it's easy to write them off as the baddies in the book, but there's things get a lot more sinister from there on in.
I was gonna say there are way more twists and turns than just those guys. Which is just actually one of the really wonderful things about the book is that the perception, as you're reading, the perception of various characters changing and morphing, and it just kind of it grabs hold of you, and it just is like, okay, okay, I've got it. Oh no, I don't. I'm wrong. Um, and just really beautifully done. So one of the things, as you said, he just wants to go to this little village and have a quiet life where he can work on something. And they do not like him. He is an outsider, and he found a body, and nobody trusts him. So, just out of curiosity, have you ever been exposed to quaint village paranoia of that kind.
Thankfully not. I mean, I grew up in a quaint village. I live in London now, but I grew up in a tiny little town called Beccles in Suffolk in East Anglia, rural small town England essentially. But no, thankfully I never experienced that kind of suspicion. But what it does allow you, that setting, what it allows you to do is, first of all, it's very self-contained. So it allows you to sort of paint this diverse cast of very quirky characters. In the traditions of although this is set in the future, in the traditions of a very traditional murder mystery set in a small town or village.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really nice sort of way of bottling everything up, so that you've got your list of suspects. They're all self-contained in one village. They all have flaws. They all have quirks. They all have goals, and they're all hiding something. Pretty much everyone is hiding something, and I just love that kind of sort of that rural setting that allows you to do that. And then you introduce a protagonist who's not from that setting, so you're seeing this new town from the lens of someone who's coming into it, who's immediately a suspect, which really is a tale as old as time. I think it's one of the classic Greek stories. That kind of someone from outside the community comes into the community and either ends up getting destroyed by the community or changing the community or having this huge impact. And that's Harry's coming in there and having this huge impact. But beyond that, I thought it was a really nice way to play with the juxtaposition of the near future setting as well.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
we're dealing with advanced technology, revolutionary technology, near future. We're not talking about spaceships and laser beams and androids, but we are talking about some technology that we don't have now, and that and how society is going to be in the future. And I just love the idea of a lot of tech thrillers are set in big bustling metropolises. I love the idea of doing something completely different and setting it in this quirky, quaint, rural setting. That's just quintessentially English.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is this wonderful juxtaposition. Um, so, okay, you have reporters at the beginning of the story, and I'm just going to say it, I hate them. They're so mean and so relentless, and we are in PR. Um, what did you base your portrayal on?
So I've always worked in the media. I was a journalist before I went and founded a PR firm. I never did what they call the death knock, which is what the reporter who leads this does. Knocking on the door of someone who's facing bereavement or hounding someone who's suspected an innocent suspect of a crime. But they are tenacious. They're relentless. I never did that. I did sort of investigations into corporate tax affairs and political stories. But when you study the media, when you're trained in the media, you see what the industry is like, and you meet other journalists, and and the British tabloid press is famous for it. I mean, it's this sort of gutter press. You look at take Prince Harry, for example, was so afraid of the power and the tenacity and the darkness of the British tabloid press that he had to quit the royal family, take his wife and flee to the other side of the Atlantic to get away from it, because he saw what it did to his family. He saw what it did. It contributed to his mother's death, and but that is what the British tabloid press are like, and they can be horrific. And the British tabloid press, you think about the sort of scandals they whip up, the stories they whip up, the sort of they they can demonize groups in society, whether it's people claiming benefits or whether it's immigrants, and it can get very toxic. And I wanted to satirize that a little bit, with how the press treats Harry in this book.
Yeah, well done. You definitely bring up those emotions. Um, so there are a smattering of pop culture references um, throughout, mostly for geek culture. And uh, why include those? Um, so we've got The Matrix and Dungeons and Dragons and things like that. So um, And just a smattering. So why include those in this little village?
There's probably even more than you. You're far too cool to have got them all. You know, if you're a proper geek, you'd get more, even more than that. You know, there's I think there's a reference to aliens in there.
Yeah.
There's a reference to there's Star Trek and Lord of the Rings, a reference in there. The Walking Dead. There's even a very my favourite reference is to the British cult classic film With Nell and I. You know, if it prizes for anyone who gets that.
I
Um,
didn't get that one.
but the reason, and there's more than I've mentioned, you know. So, but the reason I did it is, I thought it'd be fun. You know, these are things that I love, and I thought, you know, it'd be something like quirky and interesting for Harry to base his life philosophy around. You know, he has this set of rules which he thinks sort of makes him a good person. You know, rule number one, which he quotes, is the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or in this case, the one, which is a quote from Spock in Star Trek. So
Okay,
that's,
yeah.
you know, geek quote number one. You know, and there's various little references like that. And the reason I did that is because I think actually a lot of these things are a good system of morality in the way that, you know, some people, and Harry is as a character is an atheist, but you know, I could have written a religious character who based their moral philosophy on Christianity or Islam or any other world religion, and that would make them a good person. Harry, as an atheist, he doesn't have that. His rules are based on geek culture. So his selflessness, his pacifism, his desire to help others, based on geek culture. And I think actually, you know, you look at Star Trek, and if everyone lived their lives like Star Trek, I think the world would be a better place. You know, a peaceful society, a more egalitarian society. I thought that would be a great lens through which he views the world.
That was Gene Roddenberry's whole point was when he started Star Trek was just let's look at society as if we all get along and see how that goes. And it's kind of lovely. Um, so yeah, I actually am quite a big nerd myself, so I enjoyed them quite a lot. The one that surprised me was the take the blue pill, which is the Matrix decision of, you know, do you just want to stay the course or and just kind of be happy or do you want to change the world? And his philosophy is just stay the course, just blue pill. So,
Yeah.
what would you choose? Red
Well,
pill.
I mean, Harry. I mean, to create conflict, Harry has to have a philosophy of choosing the blue pill because that forces him into a choice that he doesn't want to take. Ultimately, he does have to pursue the truth, and that he doesn't want to pursue the truth, and that creates conflict. As to blue pill, red pill, I mean, the whole sort of metaphorical concept of it has been so disgustingly debased by the incel movement and these conspiracy theorists that, you know, I hesitate to use it in a serious sense. But to answer your question, red pill. Red pill. I want to know the truth. You know, my career has been based on finding the truth from investigative journalism into politics. I'm a politician as well. You know, I run campaigns to preserve the environment and yeah, help communities and you know, fighting for green space and transformation. And I think you don't get that unless you're seeking change, seeking transformation, seeking the truth. So red pill, even though, you know, it's not necessarily a nicer reality that you're exposing yourself to when you seek that. Wouldn't it all be nice if we all lived in the world of don't look up, where we didn't know an asteroid was about to wipe us all out, where we didn't know that, you know, rampant climate change was going to going to cause huge disruption to our society, kill millions of people. You know, wouldn't it all be nice if we could you know, think like Donald Trump? But we can't. You know, we can't bury our heads in the sand. We have to do things about it, and that's why we have to be red pill.
All right, absolutely wonderful. So, what is next for you and your writing career?
Well, I am working on a second novel at the moment. It will be, it'll go a bit further into the future. It's speculative fiction, not a murder mystery this time. More dystopian, going further into the future. But again, looking at society through the lens of AI and technology and what that means for the direction we're going in, it is taking me a bit longer than I'd hoped. I've just had my second child, so it's that's taking up all my time at the moment. But I fully intend to get back to work on it and get that out there. I don't know, before George R. Martin finishes The Winds of Winter. Let's say that.
That's that'll give you some time.
Yes,
Um, yeah, and I only I have just one daughter, and everything I've heard of adding a second child to your life is not twice the work. It's like four times the
oh,
work.
it's about
So.
four. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um, all right. And finally, where can we find you social media wise?
So yeah, I've got a website, salmanshaheen.com. I'm on all the full range of social media. I'm particularly active on Blue Sky. I've pretty much quit X. I haven't, I still refuse to call it X. It's now. So Blue Sky is the best place to find me. Freeborn is everywhere. You get anywhere books are sold online. Amazon in particular. Please do check it out if it sounds up your street.
All right. That is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you, everybody, for watching Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews.
Thank you very much.